everyone. We are so excited to bring you yet another amazing founder in Spotlight for this month. Definitely make sure you buckle in. You want to stay tuned. We have so much in store and we can't wait for you to enjoy it. So, with that being said, my name is Taishita. I am the founder and CEO of Luxury Travels by Dreamy Designer Events, where we curate elevated travel experiences worldwide, as well as work with founders to really connect their community and their clientele, taking them outside the digital world and getting them in person in destinations so they can experience it. And onto you, Star.
Thank you, Ty. I'm Star Dixon, founder of Mitsu's, a space designed for collectors to discover original, story driven pieces by emerging artists and studios. At its core, Mitsu's is about finding works that speaks to you and building a collection that reflects exactly who you are. So, today we're going to have a goodie one. Some people build businesses, but others build pathways that change what's possible for the next generation. Today, we're joined by Holly O'Brien, founder and CEO of SkillZilla, an education and workforce readiness startup focused on helping young people learn, earn, and launch. With a background spanning companies like Twitch, Microsoft, and YouTube, Holly brings both operational excellence and deep heart to her work, creating programs that don't just teach skills, but actually open doors. Holly, we're excited to have you. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having me, all. I'm so excited to be here. Last time I was supposed to be here kind of got, snafu, but we made it. We're going to make it work on this one. Like they said, my name is Holly O'Brien. I'm the founder and CEO of SkillZilla. A quick intro on me is I am not building this from an idea. I'm not building this from any kind of, I don't know what I'm trying to say other than we're rooted in experience. Like the reason why I started this is because 4 generations of my family have been affected by the lack of training people how to get a job, how to turn skills into opportunity, how to actually market yourself in the workforce that doesn't make you intimidating or super passionate. And I think we've all had that experience where we came off a little too strong and people are like, whoa, hold on a little bit. And that is what me and my family, we're very passionate people. That is what my family and myself have always run into is we're labeled too much. So I started this when I realized my kids, we have 6 kids, that they were in the same boat, that nobody is teaching them the proper way to approach their boss. Nobody is teaching them the proper way to send emails. No one is teaching them how to market themselves to really turn the skills that they have into opportunities. Nobody is making that link. So I was like, if I had this problem 20 years ago, my kids are having this problem now. My mother had this problem 40 years ago. My grandmother had this problem 60 years ago. So when are we going to start teaching this to our kids so we don't keep people in poverty? Like, when are we going to start teaching this that these are the important things to get upward mobility in families, to end generation financial issues? Why are we not teaching these things that make the difference between an okay career and an amazing career? Why are we not teaching this? So that is where Skillzilla came from, is that passion. I don't know if y'all picked up on that passion, but Skillzilla came from that passion that I feel like no youth should not have someone guiding them onto the next step. Our kids graduate from high school and we're like, okay, y'all, are you going to work or are you going to go to do a college degree? Not, neither one of those, they even try. Like they think that they know what college is because they have high school, but college is so less stringent than a high school that it takes time management, it takes self accountability, and we don't teach those things. So they could go right to college and fail out because they don't have time management. They don't know how to manage distractions. They don't know how to prioritize. And we're not teaching that. So this is what we came up with, my husband and I. We built a skill profile. And what we do is when a user comes into our app, we test them on 8 different questions. And from those 8 questions, we learn how they think, how they work, and how they connect dots. So then we put them into a herd, is what we're calling it, as a team. So they'll get their skill profile, and they say that, like, I'm a brachiosaurus. I am a watchtower. I see everything before it happens. I can see into the future to where I'm like, hey, this is going to be a problem in 6 months from now. And other people think I'm crazy. And then 6 months from now, they're like, oh, dang, this is happening. And I'm like, I wish somebody would have told us about this. That's me. So I am a brachiosaurus, and they get put in herds, and the brachiosaurus has a profile, and it'll tell them what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what skills they already have that are showing prevalent. Then it spits them out a skill profile that then they can follow that skill track that starts with a resume. That's the first thing. As soon as they come in and they find out what their strengths and weaknesses are, they go straight into a resume, build the resume. If they don't have a resume to upload and for us to look through, then we walk them through how to make a resume. What is all of your information? What is your experience? And then if they have, say that they volunteered at church or they volunteered at school, we will even counsel them on what those transferable skills are, because a lot of the problems that the youth are having is they think because they didn't get paid for it, it doesn't count. And that's not the case. Just because you didn't get paid for it doesn't mean you didn't develop a skill. Like I was telling you ladies earlier that I'm about to put up wallpaper. I'm not going to get paid to put up this wallpaper. I'm doing it on my own, but that doesn't mean that I'm not learning how to do wallpaper.
Yep.
That just means that nobody paid me to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
I took it upon myself. So that is the biggest hurdle that we found in helping these youth get the opportunities, is finding those transferable skills that they don't even know that they have. Like, hey, did you take shop class? Then you have some auto knowledge. Did you take this class? Then you have some other knowledge. Did you take psychology? Then you have some psychology knowledge. Like, it doesn't have to be a full degree to say, hey, I took a psychology class. Because even when you're in college, you can put that on your resume. So why could high schoolers not do it too? But they're not connecting those dots and nobody is helping. And I know some people are. When I say nobody, I know if you're out there and you're doing it and you're saying, oh, I'm doing it, I mean, a majority of people aren't doing it. So that is how SkillZilla came to be. That is our mission. We are helping youth grab that $400,000 that they're losing in the first decade after high school. That's what we're doing. I don't know about you ladies, but I could have bought a house with $400,000 in that first 10 years after high school. I could have put my kids in daycare and went to school, back to school, or got a better job. But I had 4 kids by the time I was 23. So there was no daycare. There was no daycare. It was me staying home. So a lot of things could have been done differently if we had the skills that a lot of upper echelon kids have. Mm-hmm. And we just don't have it. And like I said, 4 generations of my family has been affected by this. So imagine how many other people out there are like me that didn't know what they didn't know and didn't realize that they were sitting on a pot of gold and didn't even know because nobody told them, hey, you're sitting on a pot of gold. And sometimes that's all it takes is for one person to take the time to see you as a human and point out a blind spot that you have to make the difference between where you are today and you being successful 5 years from now. Yeah. Just takes one person. So that is why SkillZilla exists. This is why my husband and I pour everything that we have into this business, because we really are passionate about helping youth get to the next step after high school, because that's when a lot of things happen. Pregnancies happen, detours happen, jobs happen, loss of hope happens. A lot of things happen in that 18 to 22 area that can really affect your life. And that is our passion, is the 18 to 22.
Amazing though. And
That
it's
was a
good.
lot, y'all. I just
Yeah.
spit it all out.
No, but it was great.
But it's all really good. And like I said, same thing like you said, is you can hear the passion behind why it's important when you talk about it and how much this is game changer to even, the people of tomorrow and the legacy and the people who are, having these jobs and running the world that, we're going into. Which that actually leads me to my first question is what responsibility do you think, like as leaders and educators and even parents, have when it comes to preparing young people for what's next?
I think that I have a very different view of the world than most people. Most people say that we inherit the world from our parents. I say we borrow it from our children. So it is very important for us to prepare them to get to the next step because they're the future. If we don't prepare them for the future, we're not preparing ourselves for our future.
Mhm.
That is like shooting ourselves in the foot. That is like having, in my case, having really bad asthma and then lighting up a cigarette. Like,
Yeah.
that is horrible. Like, I know it's bad for me. I know it's going to cause issues, but I'm going to do it anyway. And we continue to make these same mistakes. And we continue to see more and more kids fall through the cracks. So it is super important for us to prepare them for the future because one, most of the jobs that they're work that we have now, they're not going to go into. They're going to go into jobs that are going to be created by an AI workforce. And we don't even know what that looks like yet. So we can't even really properly prepare them for what's coming because we don't really know. We have ideas, but we don't know when the next internet boom is going to come. We don't know when the next AI is going to come. So we have to prepare them with these power skills and these soft skills because these are the ones that are going to make the difference
Mhm.
between having a job and not, especially if we think if you're in the camp that AI is going to take over a lot of the coding jobs and the customer service jobs and all of that, then what are the kids going to do? It's going to be human to human interaction, and Gen Z is not prepared for that, and Gen Alpha is definitely not prepared for that. So we need to start teaching them communication and negotiation and emotional intelligence and emotional regulation and all of these things that go into a job that's not just have the skill to get the job. Like you have to have personal skills as well.
And I really love the fact that you've touched on both the soft skills and the marketing side because I do remember, yes, it's been a minute, but I do remember back with like high school, understanding exactly as you were saying, you may not have gotten paid for a specific thing, but it's still a skill that you learned, and therefore it needs to be on your resume, especially once you're leaving high school and going into college, and especially if you're going to look for internships as well because you do want to say all of the things that you've done and even like the smallest, like piece of information that might not mean so much to you becoming the most important thing that's going to keep you and have you stand out when like everyone is starting to do their recruitment. Yeah, I was like, I 100% connect with that. So, with that though, like my question for you is what was the journey once you had your first like tester into and also just being able to really bring the app from like ideation all the way into actuality?
Oh my gosh. So the first testers like broke my heart. Like literally broke my heart. I had designed this whole thing. It had taken me like 6 months to do the branding and everything. And I thought this thing was amazing. And then they get in there and they're like, this is childish. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Like
Mhm.
childish? Really? I thought it was cute. But
Right.
but my husband is like, well, you're gonna have boys in there. So remember, you also have to think about the boys. And I'm like, oh, I have 6 boys. How did I not say this is boys? But my boys, the whole time I'm designing, they're like, yeah, mom, it's great. It's great. We love it. It's so cute. And then we get into testing with their friends and they're like, we knew that this was bad. We just didn't tell her. And I'm like, y'all, I asked you to be honest with me. I'm like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I know I say it hurts my feelings, but I understand it's part of the growing process that you have to undo things to redo them. So then I had to start almost at square one again because nobody wanted to use it at all. They were like, this is way too childish. And we did all of the videos. We even produced videos for 18 different lessons. So I sunk so much time and money into it. And that's how I learned to small batch and iterate quickly.
Hmm.
Don't build everything at once. Don't over design in the beginning. Get as close to the product as you can, as simply as you can, test that, then move on. Keep what
Hmm.
works, fix what doesn't. Don't do massive builds, don't do massive overhauls. I've done, I think, 6 massive overhauls that didn't work before I was like, what am I doing with my life?
Mhm, mhm.
Because I am a perfectionist at heart. So I want to make sure that what I am delivering to people is fulfilling the promises that I'm also telling them. Like, hey, this is going to help you get a better job. This is going to lead to opportunities. This is going to help you with skills. I want to make sure that when you get into our app, we're doing that.
Right.
So I won't release something until I feel like the value is there. And that is both a positive and a negative because it comes out looking amazing,
Mhm.
but then you kind of have to hold your breath and hope that it lands.
Yes.
It's a lot like throwing spaghetti at a wall, is what they say. Throw spaghetti at the wall until something sticks. And that is really what it is. And being in that desert of product market fit, is what they call it, is so, I wouldn't say defeating because I'm still here, but it is so mentally trying
Yep.
because you're so passionate about what you're building. You're so excited to help people. You're so ready to get it out there and see it fly and do what it's supposed to do and help all the people you're supposed to help. And then sometimes it lands, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
So when you're in that desert or product market fit, you have to make sure that you're eating properly, that you're exercising, that you're filling yourself with dopamine, that you have some little comfort snacks if you do that. Whatever it is that makes you feel good on bad days, make sure that that is readily available when you're trying to look for product market fit, because getting that 0 to 1 is the hardest battle I have ever faced. The hardest battle. And now we're into another one where we're expanding into school districts and we're going to that 0 to 1 again. And that 0 to 1, y'all, I tell you, that's the hardest thing. Once you get one, you're like, hey, I already got this dude. And you have testimonials and you have all the things, and then you can start to roll it. But when you don't have that one dude,
Yeah.
people are like, I'm going to be the first. I'm going to be a test rat. Like, who wants to be that?
Mhm.
So, going from 0 to 1, I would say would be the hardest thing in that product market fit desert because you're so excited. And I wouldn't say that, again, it's not defeating, but it's definitely a hard place.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like we've definitely talked about this too, where it really is one of like we understand what you mean by like defeating,
Yeah.
because of the fact that it really is like you took your idea and you feel that it's perfect, but then you get the feedback, and just as you're with your
Yes.
story, it's like yeah, but no, and so
Yeah.
then kind of like also removing yourself from the situation too, which
Mm-hmm.
is a whole other process to do. With
Yes.
time, you start getting very good at just being like, okay, fine, like whatever,
Yes.
but it's
Don't take
still
it personally.
yeah, like, but it comes with time, you know? So
Yes.
it makes 100% sense, including also the whole 0 to 1
Yeah.
pipeline. That
Oh my
is,
God.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
0 to 1.
yeah.
Ugh.
And
yeah,
definitely like same thing like Star and you said like the mentally trying part, yes. That's
yeah,
it. That's where it's at. And sometimes you don't
Yeah.
realize it until you're put into it and then you're on that journey, you have the business, but that's where the passion behind it because that's really what drives you during those times where you're like, am I crazy? Like what like what is going
Yes.
on?
Do I need more therapy? Like,
Like please tell me
do
kind of
more
like
something.
this is
often?
rejection
Yes.
therapy in a way.
Is.
Like literally. And then which actually leads me to like my next question. So what is the long-term vision that you see for skills and what with what you're building and you're leaning towards right now?
Yeah, so we're hoping to be the Duolingo of power skills, life skills. Like, we want to be the name. Like, when you think of power skills, when you think of transitioning from 18 to your first job, I want SkillZilla to be in that sentence. Like, even at 16, I think we need to start at 16. Like, at 16, let's start building that confidence. Let's start building that interview skills. Let's start building those questions because you don't want to come into an interview and not have questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's another thing that I tell them because I'm like, you don't want to seem apathetic. You don't want to seem not invested. You
Yeah.
want to seem interested. And you're interviewing the company just as much as they're interviewing you because you want to make sure that it's a good cultural fit. You want to make sure that it's a good mental fit. Like, if they want you to work 80 hours a week, and you know that you're mentally can't do that, then that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
So you need to be asking them questions as well. And that's something that comes with experience from being burned, I think. that you know what questions to ask. And that is why this mentorship kind of thing that we're trying to pass on is important. Because, like I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know until somebody tells you.
Mhm.
So kids think, oh, well, I don't want to burden them. I don't want to ask questions. I don't want to seem stupid. But really, what you're sending is you're not engaged, you're not thinking, you're just there answering
Mhm.
their questions. So when you come in and you're like, so what's the culture like? What does an average day of this role entail? Like when you come in with those kinds of questions, then the interviewer is more intrigued by you
Yes.
because you're already thinking of how you fit into the role, not just how you answered their questions.
Yeah. You're more engaged.
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
And I agree with this starting around like, yeah, 15, 16, especially since isn't that the time that you get your kind of like your license to start working
Yes.
basically? I forgot what it's called. Oh geez.
Is it a work permit?
Yes, there we go. The work permit. I was like, I remember those days. And yeah, like being able to also teach the youth like how to deal with like the real world while they're still learning from like that
Yes.
environment of high school, there's nothing that can compare to that. Because yeah, by then you already know that once you're finished with high school, you at least have a little bit of a leg up on like a lot of other people once that you go into
Yes.
college. And especially since a lot of the times in college you'll also want to work so that you can get, you know, your little treat money
Yes.
for a while, you know, on campus. So with your background with Twitch, Microsoft, YouTube, I wanted to know like what are some of the things that those experiences taught you into being able to build and have Skillzilla?
Yeah, so I worked primarily in gaming and all of those things.
Mm,
So it taught me a lot of the gamification elements, like the
okay.
dopamine hits from like XP boxes, things like that. We aren't going to use the more toxic things that games do, like the gambling and the loot
Mm.
boxes and all of that that keeps kids buying and buying, because I think that's not ethical. I think, girl, I could
Yeah.
go on and on and on about that because they're targeting people that don't have the
Yes.
prefrontal cortex to make those
Yes.
decisions.
Yes.
Yes.
But I digress. But we're gonna do a just flat subscription fee, and then that's it because I know all of the tips and tricks, and I'm not with it. I'm not in
Mhm.
it for profit's sake. But
Mhm.
I did learn a lot of the gamification things, the viral loops that you use in video games to keep them coming back. I also am using a lot of the skill trees that they use in video games. So I don't know if you guys play video games, but in video games, like you can have your little paper doll and you give it stats and everything. And as you progress through a game, you'll have like a skill tree that you can fill little skills in. So your character gets stronger as you fill in the skill tree. So I'm working on this right now, integrating a skill tree to where as they build skills, their little tree gets built in. So you can see their tree starting to grow and bloom and flourish with these skills that they get to fill in. So those little things are things that I learned in those companies, especially Twitch. I was a streamer moderator for Twitch, and I really got to see what makes a difference in a stream that's successful
Mhm.
versus isn't successful. I haven't been able to perfect it for myself yet, but I know the psychology behind it.
Mhm.
So my husband and I are in the process of doing a podcast ourselves for youth workforce development and giving skills and things like that. That's why I'm doing wallpaper and stuff so we can have a nice little set. But that is what I learned there is how to keep users engaged, how to keep them with their eyes forward. And with that, aimed at something like Skillzilla, that is going to be powerful because we're not aiming that kind of attention driving to frivolous scrolling or
Mhm.
loot box buying or anything like that. We're aiming it towards real world action. Like all of our lessons are okay, now that you learn this, go do it.
Mhm.
So
Interesting.
we keep them doing actions in the real world that they get rewards in the app.
I like that. That's really good. And it actually is kind of ironic because that's what I kind of wanted to find out. So if anyone who's listening to you, hearing your story, hearing what you created, what is something that you would want them to walk away with and something that you would want them to be able to think differently about moving forward?
if I could do one thing, I want to stop hearing kids these days don't want to work. I want to stop hearing that because kids these days want to work. They
Mm-hmm.
want to feel productive. They
Mm-hmm.
want to do for themselves. They don't want to rely on their parents. It's society and how it's set up that makes them seem that way
Mm-hmm.
because who's going to be able to make the money to move out of mom's house right now out of high school?
No.
Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So I want that to be eradicated. Kids want to work. Kids want to be self reliant. Kids want to do all of the things that you're saying they don't want to do, but they don't want to compromise their morals and values to do
Yes.
it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. So I'm a millennial. I joined the hustle culture super fast. I learned how to hustle. I learned how to work harder than everyone around me. I learned how to outperform everyone around me. I joined that hustle culture. And then at 33, I found that I had cancer. I had mental health problems. It was insane. So that is what this generation does not want to end up with. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want the health problems. My kids even talk about cortisol already. Like I didn't even know what that was until I was in my 30s. And they're like,
Yes.
"Oh, I don't want to get my cortisol high." And I'm
Right,
like, "What are
right,
you talking about?" They're
right.
like, "Oh, I don't want to get my cortisol high. I don't want to zit today." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I didn't even know about cortisol until I was in my 30s, y'all." And they're like, "Oh, I don't want to zit today." So they're really big on self-care. They're really big on being respected.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that word respect is
Mm-hmm.
where a lot of the problems come into play, is how the different generations define respect.
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
boomers are like, when I
Mm-hmm.
say jump, you say how high, and that's
Yes.
respect.
Yeah.
Blind loyalty and
Yes.
doing everything in a demand is a
Mhm.
respect to a boomer. Gen X is a little less so, but still similar. Millennial is like, just treat me like a person and
Yes.
I'm good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, just treat me like a person. Like, that's all I'm asking. I'll work hard. I'll do the hustle culture. I'll
Yeah.
do all of that, but just don't abuse me while you're doing
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Gen Z is like, no, we're not doing the whole hustle culture. We're not
Yes.
saving babies
Yes.
today.
Yeah.
Like, if I get my email in tomorrow at 10 o'clock instead of today at 5 o'clock, nobody's going to die.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
Yes.
Like they still want to work, but they don't want to be held to these unrealistic expectations
Yes.
that we've been held to ourselves. I'm
Yeah.
sure all three of us have been
Mhm.
held to those
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
expectations
Yeah.
that you're like, how do you expect me to do that with what you give me?
Yeah. And that's why for me, like I love this generation of kids because of exactly that. I feel
Yes.
like they always get that rep of exactly as you were saying, like they're so lazy. It's like, no, they just don't want to be abused.
Yeah.
And actually, I
Yes.
feel like us millennials need to take our credit where we can because of the fact that we went through a lot of it and we were like, hey, by the way, it's not sustainable. So
Yep.
granted, we weren't able to, like articulate it into the workplace for us by the time, but like we're at least like telling the next generation, do not accept someone
Mm-hmm.
disrespecting you,
Mhm.
especially when you see that the landscape for employment has changed and how like
Yes.
in years like generations prior, businesses actually cared about the talent that they had. They supported them, like pensions, like all of these things, and then now it's just kind of like, yeah, we're gonna just like pull that away from you, and like it
Yep.
is what it is.
Yep.
Yep.
So
All
yeah,
my
like
kids are gig workers for
mhm,
that reason.
Mhm.
Like
mhm,
in Augusta, I live in Augusta, Georgia, and they want to pay people to do fast food like 12 to $13 an hour.
mhm.
And my kids are like, I can do DoorDash for 25 to $30 an
Yep.
hour. I can do Lyft and Uber for 25 to $30 an hour. So why would I work at Zaxby's for 12?
Mhm.
And they get to make their own hours.
Mhm.
They get to dictate their days off. If they want to go hang out with friends, they do.
Mhm.
Like all of us are gig workers. My whole family, we're all
Mhm.
gig workers
Mhm.
because of that reason. Like we can make our own schedules, we can do everything. Like the kids want to work. If you give them an environment, they will work,
Yes,
but you
and
have
treat
to
them
create a
well.
safe environment for them
Mhm.
to do it. And I'm so tired of people thinking that that's unrealistic
Mhm.
to have a respectful workplace. Like, really? That's
Oh,
what we're going
yeah.
to villainize Gen Z for, is they don't want to
Mhm.
be yelled at
Mhm.
and they don't want to work off the clock.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really?
And you also really do see that though, like where once you treat people like as equals as opposed to just as like pawns, they actually
Yes.
do perform a lot better. And also, I would even beg to say that, well, it is one of those sayings that has been out for quite a while where when it comes to businesses of whichever type, it's you don't quit the managers. I mean, you don't quit the job, you just quit the manager.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
really like entails like how I was treated inside of this position and what was I able to learn
Yes.
from you too. Not just like throw me out and then like let me just be caught, basically.
Exactly. Because,
Hmm.
like, I applied to be a customer service representative. Like,
Hmm.
I did. I agreed to the job description. I agreed to all of that, but I didn't agree to be yelled at. I didn't agree to be disrespected. I didn't agree to have you call me at all hours of the day and night. I didn't agree to use my cell phone for your business. Like, all of these things that I've encountered in my job is like, I applied for the job. Yeah, but
Hmm.
I didn't apply for all of the axillary treatment that came with it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that is what I love about Gen Z
Hmm.
is they're like, yeah, we're here to work, but we're not here to be abused and you're whipping post. Like
Hmm.
we're not here to do that.
Hmm. And that's
And
why
I love it.
like even just by name, Skillzilla. Like, oh, actually, I also do want to know how you got into the name of it, like as my last question. But like just by the name, you see that it is catered to more youthful people where like it's easier for them to like at least want to inquire about like what is it? Like how do I get involved? So yeah, like how did the name come about?
Yeah, so I'm autistic and ADHD. So my autistic trait is loving dinosaurs and people. So sociology and dinosaurs is my autistic interest. So I was like, I want to have dinosaurs involved because I love dinosaurs. And then my husband was like, well, Godzilla. And I'm like, skills, Godzilla. I'm like, SkillZilla.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
You're like best of both worlds.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So we have a little bit of fun with the dinosaur. And then it also symbolizes like power. Like nobody is going to go up to a dinosaur and think they're weak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like nobody. It can be a herbivore, it can be whatever. And you're not
Mhm.
going to go up to it thinking you're going to pet it like a cat.
I know. It's
So
like
it
that's gonna be
also
a
gives
problem.
them a power, something
Mhm.
powerful to represent their growth also.
Mhm.
So it tied in nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
And also, I mean, even though this actually has been a very like fun, especially centered business, just wanted to know, like, because we usually do break off into this, what would you say is a fun and slash or unsuspecting fact about yourself?
Oh, I'm a high school dropout.
And
Most
how
people
has
do not know that because I have always taught myself I'm a lifetime learner. I learn something new every day.
it?
So when I tell people that, they're like, "But you're so well spoken and you're so educated." And I'm like, "Yeah, no thanks to our government." Y'all might have to cut that, but
I'm like, we're all
But
like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so I did a lot of YouTube learning. I did go to college after I got my GED, and I'm one class away from my psychology degree, but I just dropped it because I was like, what am I paying for? Like, I still have to
Mhm.
get a master's to do anything that I
Mhm.
want to do with psychology. So I just dropped it.
Mhm.
So I'm a high school and a college dropout, y'all. Just
No,
racking up little tokens.
yeah. No, but that also speaks to the testament of you where you're like, I do want to learn. It's not a matter of like, I don't want to learn. It's like, I do want to learn and just make the environment something that I can actually like really intake everything from, which is also, yeah, like it actually all just like it tracks.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. And
mm-hmm.
that's why I love Gen Z because they're like, yeah, I will do it if the environment's right,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to force myself to do it. And I think that there's beauty in that. And I'm hoping that there's going to be a correlation because there was a study that came out that said when humans force themselves into these environments that they know that they don't thrive in, it causes autoimmune disorders and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see with Gen Z being less willing to put themselves in those environments if their autoimmune disorders are going to be lower than the previous generations. Because I have a couple on my roster that I've given myself from trying to fit into the square hole that they give
Mm-hmm.
us all. And I just don't fit in it. I don't fit
Mm-hmm.
in any mold. Like
Mm-hmm.
I haven't found any mold that I'm like, yep, that's me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just I'm just Holly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's just what it is. So I'd be interested to see if Gen Z has less autoimmune disorders,
Mm.
if they don't go into these job environments that we braved.
And also, like, one, I would definitely think so, since they're more health conscious, like, for
Mhm.
sure.
Mhm.
I mean,
But
they know about cortisol already.
yeah, yeah. And also, like, I really do feel though that when it comes to like their generation, it is more also about, oh, did I just like lose my we'll cut that out. But no, like wait, there was something. Oh man, cortisol. We'll just cut the last part out. If it comes back, I'll come back to it. But
Sounds
yes,
good.
yeah.
Yes, but definitely. But so I did want to say, so before we close out, we always love to give our guests the opportunity to be able to connect and be able to reach our audience and our community. So what is an ask of them, whether it's supporting, connecting, or just following you after this conversation?
I love, love, love feedback. If y'all could download the SkillZilla app, it's on the Google Play and the App Store on Apple. If y'all could download it, play around with it, see what you like, tell me what you don't like, that would be great, especially if you have a child that's in 18 to 22 or you are in the age range of 18 to 22, because I want to build for that those people. I'm not building for me. So I need to hear feedback from that age group, what they need, what they want, what their problem still is, so I can help them get those opportunities from the skills that they already have. That is the best thing they can do. I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my best platform. I'm autistic, like I told you guys, so I have mastered corporate. That that's what I learned, because I'm like, that's where all of my lifeblood comes from. So then I go into like personal situations and I'm like oversharing and all of this stuff because I've only honed my corporate side.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn is great for me. I love connecting on LinkedIn. And then my email, if y'all wanted to email me, if you have any questions or anything like that, it's just Holly, HOLLY, at Skills App. And that's our website too, skillzilla.app. So, really, feedback and connection is what we are looking for. And we are looking to go from 0 to 1 on CTAE referrals and pilots. So, if you are a CTA director or a principal or a teacher and want to connect with us and see how we can help your students, we'd love to speak.
And I just remembered something that we most likely cut out like from earlier. But the thing that I was going to say is that nowadays we are at least with a generation that understands that learning is not linear. So like I do feel that there is a lot of hope for like the new generation and Gen Alpha.
It's definitely not linear,
And
just
it's
like a
like just finding
career.
the pockets that make sense to you. Yes, yes. So yeah, Ali's work is a powerful reminder that opportunity can be created and scaled with intention. Through SkillZilla, she's not just preparing young people for the workforce, she's helping them step into futures that they may have not seen for themselves before. So if this conversation resonated with you, be sure to like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more founder conversations rooted in purpose and growth. Also, we'll have all of Holly's details linked in the bio down below. So, as always, and until next time, keep building, keep growing, and stay inspired. Bye.